entitled parents. My own mother tried to kill me because I didn't give her money for her birthday. Apologies if I mess up anything. My daughter told me to post her. When I was first married, money wasn't that easy to come by. I had a form of leukemia that took up most of our money. Due to this we can't just spend money like we wanted to. God bless my husband for being such a sweetheart. We were only early 20s and he still pushed through this for us. The 23rd of December is my mother's birthday. She is an awful person. She tried to get me pregnant at 14 because she wanted more money from the state. That's an entirely different story I'll post on here if people ask, as this was 20 years ago. We didn't really have the same type of cell phones we have today. So I didn't know until I got home from treatment that my mom had called me multiple times. 3 minutes later, I counted, she shows up at the door. She asks for her money. Both of us are confused, of course. She wants her birthday money, which I've never given before to her. She wanted $608. That exact amount. When I told her no, we can't afford that, she lost it. Screaming at me, calling me a whore and an entitled bitch. She gave birth to me so I should do what she says, and then I say I'm an adult and I don't have to listen. I was angry and tired and I just threw up a few minutes ago. This set her off. She grabbed a kitchen knife and ran at me, while my husband is trying to hold her back. She stabbed me right between two ribs, but didn't pierce any organ, thank God. I don't know what happened in my husband's mind, but he snapped. He broke her arm backwards in rage, while screaming something I don't even think was a human language. He called the police and she was arrested while I was taken to the hospital. Even more bills to pay, but surprisingly that was taken care of by a Domestic Violence Victims Foundation. She got 7 years in prison. I moved out and moved to Louisiana. This morning, I got a call from my sister that she passed away last night. How she did I don't know. Don't care. She took her entitlement and almost killed her own daughter because of it. The entitled mother dies. And nothing of value was lost. Sorry if that was heartless of me. It's not heartless because that's what I thought. I know you're supposed to love her, but she was a monster. Holy. Only my cousin is that evil. He's 3 years older than me, but he's tried to stab me multiple times, shoved me down 3 flights of stairs in a box, and a bunch of other shit, and his parents defended him. I can post about it if anyone's interested, but I bet nobody is. Jesus, that's nuts. But if that happened to my wife, I might have broken both arms, but IDK. Something broken arms. Oh my God. OP. I saw stories on here that were scary, but this. I was freaking terrified by this. I am very sorry for you, not for that bitch that called herself your mother. Top comment. I would like to hear your other story. The original poster replied, should I make another post? I'm off today so I would be able to respond and such. Another commenter said, yes my good lady, if you can. Of course. Here is the story. Someone asked for the other story. When I was 14, my mom wanted more benefits money from the state. I came home from school and there's a man, mid-20s, sitting there. My mom tells me to sit down, so I do. She says that she wants a grandbaby now, so she can get more smokes, her words. She pointed at the man beside her who is now looking terrified. He didn't know I was 14, nor that he was here to practically get me pregnant for food stamps. I don't want to piss her off, so I say, no mom, this is really dumb. She, in her infinite wisdom, hated this. She hated me talking back. She goes of the offensive, screaming how she created me and I'm a child, I will do what she says. The poor guy is terrified even more now as he's in a strange woman's house. He's the son of one of her friends. Doesn't know her directly, she's screaming, and there's a 14-year-old girl talking back. I rarely scream. I'm a quiet person. He runs and calls the police on my neighbor's phone. 15 minutes later they get there and try to calm her down. This does not work at all. She screams at them that she's my mother and they cannot tell her how to be a parent. She slaps the cop hard. She goes down to the floor quick. Long story short, after that is I go to live with my dad until I turn 18 and get married. She gets off on some plea deal and gets 2 years and a bunch of community service. The court tried to get me to return to her at 17, which instead of that, I got emancipated. I was working at that point and engaged. I only saw her a handful of times after this instance. Thank the good Lord. Top comment. The court tried to get me to return to her at 17. What the fuck? I'm glad that you were able to make your escape permanent, right? My jaw dropped when I read that. The system seems really broken when I read stories like this, but I'm happy OP escaped, too. Thank goodness the guy wasn't some skeevy perv and you were able to get out of that situation. I'm so sorry you had to grow up with someone like that for a mother. Best wishes to you. WTF. My mom would show pictures of me from junior high to Mexican dudes at her work here on visas. They did shitty low pay no education needed production work in packing plants. She pretty much insinuated I was a green card ticket for them if they paid her X amount of money. I stole that picture out of her purse and threw it away after she brought home 3 guys from work to have a party and drink. I remember sleeping in the apartment complex laundry room that night because FTS. This is disturbing. And I really hate that some parents have such little regard for their kids' mental, emotional and physical well-being. Your mom was trying to sell your body for her own gain as well as defraud the immigration system. She was inviting you to be raped. I am in shock. I sincerely hope you are out of this situation. 20 plus years ago, I'm safe. Ups post made this long forgotten memory leak out of my brain. Yes, ICE busted her ass for immigration fraud and instead of sending her to prison they are garnishing her wages. Selling citizenship through marriage. She can't leave the state she lives in and won't be retiring until she's in her 70s due to the garnishment. I wish there was a way I could get a copy of her court charges. I don't feel sorry for her. This gave me a huge, raging justice boner. Thank fuck she got her just desserts. Fuck her. And I'm so happy to hear you were able to move on and up from this. The best revenge is living your best life. First off, you did not deserve to be put in that disgusting situation. Even if that's self-evident, we survivors tend to be plagued with unjustified guilt and why me syndrome. Second, it sounds like your mom was at the psychopathic end of the narc spectrum and her functionality level was so low that she was too out of touch with society to bother with facades. She just took for granted that no one outside her depraved bubble would take issue with her agenda and went into total meltdown once reality intruded. You're lucky the would-be John was a healthy type because narcs are usually very good at recruiting accomplices as scummy as they are. Have you ever sought out counseling? You don't have to answer but it's just thought. I thought I was over the bullshit my mom put me through growing up but I've recently learned otherwise, and counseling has helped immensely. I was really hoping this story would end with the young man calling the police. Good for him for doing the right thing under all that pressure. Did you ever speak to him again? I just can't believe how disconnected to reality she had to be. And even worse that they tried to make you go back after under her care. This is something that just shouldn't happen anymore at this day and age. It was a strike of luck that that man was a decent guy and called the police. Jesus H. That was a very sick and horrific situation. She sounds more twisted than 100 pretzels. Everyone is right, she sounds sociopathic and you did incredibly well to get out. My stepdad had done some disgusting shit to us and my sister. We are middle-aged now but these wounds run deep. I hope you've had or are going to get some therapy. You deserve to heal like we all do. I'm really sorry you had to go through that. It reminds me of what my stepsister went through. Her mother left her father for another guy when she was a baby, and the dad ended up with custody for reasons that are a whole other story. Stepsis becomes a teenager, and her mother decides she wants something to do with her now. Stepsis wants to know her mother, so visits her in another state, only to be hauled out by said mother for drugs, alcohol and cigarettes. Makes my blood boil. Thankfully, stepsis got away, came home, and now lives a relatively stable life. This is so sad. Is your mother insane? Trying to get you pregnant at 14? I'm quite young but even I know it was fucking ridiculous. Drugs. She would swap different things for cigarettes and meth. Imagine being invited to your mother's friend's house. You sit down, Her underage daughter walks in and her mom points at you and with a straight face says this guy will impregnate you. Hit like and subscribe with notifications on, and your crush will love you forever.